Before we begin, I want to invite you into the Jubilee Haven Patreon community, a quiet space where we go deeper into healing, spiritual connection, and the quiet mysteries that guide us. If this podcast has touched you, your support here helps me keep creating these conversations. The link is patreon.com/deathismylife, and I will put the link in the show notes. Thank you.
Volume. There we go.
Hello. So since I started this, I've been having tripod issues. Still having tripod issues. So I'm using I'm using this little guy. Can you see it?
A guitar stand?
Microphone stand.
Hey, whatever works.
We'll see if it works better than the tripod anyway. That's my nemesis. Okay, so I'm gonna start out by saying I talked to this guy, Stephen Laughlin, today.
Oh, yeah?
And he wants to get on an episode with you and battle. He said, Jeff taught me everything I know, and then he turned to the dark side.
That's funny.
Okay, so hi, Jeff. Welcome to my podcast.
How you doing, Jolene?
I am good. Thank you for being with me tonight.
Okay,
so you are on to share a different perspective on death, dying, afterlife. Yeah, so what are your okay, well, let me start at the beginning. How were you raised from a religious area?
well, that's interesting. Actually, I guess you could say I was brought up in a Jewish household, but we weren't really religious,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
it was never forced down my throat. And
Yeah.
I think my parents were just trying to look good to the Jewish community. So, showed up at temple and did things, it to be part of it. But I know for a fact my father definitely didn't subscribe to the religious portion of it at all.
Okay.
But I remember going to Friday night services with my family. I think I was 13 at the time. And after the service, the rabbi usually stands out in the hall, and one by one, you come up and you shake his hand and you greet the rabbi. So I shook his hand and I said, "Rabbi, tell me something," because his sermon was about Moses and the burning bush and receiving the Ten Commandments. So I said, "Tell me, Rabbi, do you really believe that Moses climbed the mountain and all these things that you talked about in this story?" And he goes, he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "It's a nice story." And that was it. In other words,
Yeah.
I seriously had doubts whether he believed it, literally.
Yeah. Okay.
But he teaches it every Friday.
So that was your first, and yeah, that's funny. So even at a young age, you were questioning authority.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like one of those just mythological stories we pass down. Yeah.
But
Interesting.
like I said, I never really followed that or any other religion for that matter. I did, I used to, I should say, believe in a God per se, my perception of it. And I remember even talking to my mother about it, saying, "You know what? I never feel like I'm alone. There's always somebody with me or something with me." And I could place it behind my head, a little bit to the left, up here. I would feel some other presence.
Really?
Yeah. And and I don't know that I ever talked to it or not, but I had that feeling.
Oh, yeah.
After going to college and studying science and all these other things, that went away. I haven't had that sensation in 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So just back to me, basically.
Yeah. What did you go to college for, and what was your profession?
Well, I went to college in I studied physics basically and
Okay.
astronomy.
I thought so.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a science nerd.
Yeah. Okay. I got that from you. Okay. Yeah, I am too. Yeah. No, I
So is
really am.
so is Stephen, by the way. We talk about yesterday. We had like an hour conversation.
You did? You
Oh
talked to him
yeah,
just yesterday? Oh,
yeah. Oh
funny.
yeah. We
Okay.
talk about this, all the time. That's kind of
Cool.
how we met, talking about this stuff.
Neato. Okay, so you're a science-minded kind of guy. But when we were planning this meeting, you told me about your book of God stories. I don't know what you call it, but your journal that you review every so
Yeah,
often.
I should have tried to dig it out for the meeting, but I'm
Yeah,
sorry I didn't.
that's
Um,
okay.
but yeah, I would used to do. I'd say like, well, what do I think about the soul? What do I like?
Yeah.
Okay, my definition of God when I was a teenager was God is an infinite dimensional being. I put it in science terms,
Yeah.
but there was no worship. There was no
Hmm.
religion part about it. It was just
Hmm.
basically a universal understanding type of thing. And I was trying to put it in words. But once again, after college and studying, and which I do to this day, a lot of the things I used to believe, I didn't have any support for it. I just thought that's the way it was, and I didn't have any evidence for it. Now I become more show me the evidence type of a person.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps you.
So, I mean, you told me a story that sounded like evidence to me, and a lot of people go by those kind of stories, like when you actually physically felt a being around you.
Mhm.
And then, I mean, like oxygen, we can't really see,
Right.
but there's evidence telling us it's
Well,
there,
all you have to do
maybe.
all you have to do is light a match and you can have proof of oxygen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but same with, I'm wondering about other people's experiences or your own. Can you tell us about the story you told me about the Florida
Oh,
dates?
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So when I was 18, I went to as a graduation gift, my parents gave me a flight to Florida. I had a friend that was living there, and so I had a place to stay. I didn't have money for hotels or anything, so I had a prearranged staying at a friend's house for a week. And so I get there, and it turned out after a week, he had to go back to school. I was still off of school. So basically, his mother gently kicked me out, said, you know, he has to do his studies and he needs to be, focused on the school. So would you mind finding someplace else to, to stay? Okay. So his friend was Ricky, that was his name. And he found, I said, I don't know where to stay. Do you have any friends I can stay at? He goes, well, I heard of this place. They call them the Holy Rollers, and they'll let anybody come in and they'll feed you and they'll. I said, okay. So he drops me off at this house. I go inside, and uh, they took me in. They gave me some. I forget what it was, but they fed me. It was very nice, and they gave me a cot with blankets and a pillow. But before I got to go to bed, which wasn't until about 2 o'clock in the morning, they pulled out their Bible and they were trying to get me into this Bible and it's talking to me about Adam and Eve. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but that doesn't make sense to me. That the world population didn't come from two people, Adam and Eve. It just didn't happen that way. But I let them go through their whole through the emotions, and they realized after probably several hours that they weren't getting anywhere with me. And but they were very nice, cordial, and they said, "Okay, have a good night." And I went to sleep. But before I fell asleep, I'm thinking to myself, if I'm so sure I don't believe what they're telling me, then what the heck do I believe? So it started me on a little journey, right? The next night, I definitely wasn't going to stay there. So, so my friend Rick found me another friend of his in school that he asked his mother, is it okay if a friend of a friend stays over? He said, sure, we don't have any bed, but he's welcome to sleep between your two, your brother and yourself on the floor. Is he okay with that? I said, okay. So they gave me, I think, a sleeping bag. They laid it on the floor. And here I am between this guy I just met and his brother. And once again, I'm thinking to myself now, what do I believe? Is there a God? Okay. So I noticed this is in Florida and it was kind of off the beaten path. And I'm used to being at home with cars going by and everything, a lot of traffic. And so I'm noticing that there's no traffic. So I said, if there's a God, can you make a car come zooming by? Because it's just totally dead here. No sooner did I ask for that, and I see headlights go across the room, and then this dune buggy came up and went right through the property and gone.
Yes.
And I got a little goosebumps and went, whoa, oh, that's pretty cool. And when that happened, the cuckoo clock started to cuckoo.
Oh man.
So I said, can you make that? No, a dog. So I'm sorry, a dog started to bark. And I said, okay, can you make that dog bark 3 times, pause, and then bark twice?
Oh, that's specific. That's good.
Dog stopped barking.
Mhm.
Cuckoo clock came on. It cuckooed
Uh-huh.
3 times and then twice.
Okay.
So I'm formulating all this information. I'm going, okay, that's God telling me that, yeah, I heard you, but I'm not going to let you tell me exactly what to
I'm
do.
in charge.
I'm going to give you a little bit. I'm formulating all this in my head. Anyway, I left Florida, just still not convinced, but open. And I still am open to show me the evidence. And I don't know if there's an ending to that part of the story, and I'm sorry, but
Oh.
I'm trying to think because that was then when I was 18, college. Bear with me here. I'm trying to think, and it's not that easy at my
No
age.
problem. It's not that easy at my age either.
Oh, we'll shift to many years after that. Living out here, remember friend George? George,
No,
George Sayer? I don't know if you remember him.
no.
Anyway, he was in our band with Stephen and your dad and me,
Hmm.
which we were inseparable. Anyway, George became a Christian Scientist. His mother was very deep into Christian Science. She started as a Catholic, but
Yeah.
took in this Christian Science when she lived here she lived in New York, in Lynbrook, and she's total devout Christian Scientist, and this rubbed off on George apparently. And I don't know if you're familiar with Christian Science at all.
I know the tip of the iceberg. Yeah.
Well, anyway, they will not go to a doctor or anything
Hmm.
like that. It's all God. God's got to do everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I went to, they have reading rooms where you go typically on Wednesdays. You'll go to a reading room and you open up the Bible, and they have another book they call the Concordance, which is kind of an explanation of the Bible according to Christian Science.
Yeah.
And so I said, if George is so involved in this, I want to know what's consuming him. So I went there with him.
Hmm. Hmm.
I went for those paces, and I opened the Bible. I'm reading the things, and I'm reading the same words he's reading, but it's not doing the same thing to me. It's
Yeah.
not making sense to me. And then he's telling me, well, you got to understand, it's not a literal Adam and Eve. It's a spiritual Adam and Eve, and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm going, okay, it didn't come together for me at all. So I stopped going. He kept it. He followed through so much that he married a Christian scientist.
Mhm.
He was married for 33 years.
Mhm.
Never would go to a doctor, nothing like that. They were devout
Mhm.
Christian scientists. Well, sadly, his wife died.
Mhm.
And before she died, I would see George like once a year at this music trade show. They call it NAM. And
Ooh.
we went to it every year religiously. And but we would sit and talk, and he'd be telling me, "Oh, Jeff, I got to tell you, I almost lost Lori, his wife. I almost lost her yesterday, man. She was real bad, but we prayed so hard. We prayed so hard, and I think she's coming through." And the next year, I'd hear similar stories. The next year, I'd hear similar stories. Well, 3 years ago, it was I was trying to get him to tell me what is the problem, what's wrong. He wouldn't say anything physically wrong because he didn't believe in the physical nature of people. It's spirit. We're all spirit, and that the physical part is all an illusion. Well, she, from what I could gather, she developed some kind of cancer in her hand or arm or something, to the point where she couldn't even lift. She couldn't even walk up the stairs. He had to put a bed downstairs for her to sleep in because she couldn't make it up the stairs. And eventually, she died. And I'm thinking to myself, why did you just go to a freaking doctor? you know. And anyway, long story short, I mean, he seems to be doing fine, but apparently his wife, who is just as devout as he, not so. So
Mhm.
to me, I mean, it 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 puts lots of doubts into me. And his
Mhm.
excuse is she gave up. She didn't want to fight it anymore.
Mhm.
She wanted
Mhm.
to be with the Lord, whatever the case.
Mhm.
Okay. And George was okay with that because she decided that, and that's what they did. And
Mhm.
I mean, I feel bad for the man, you know, even
Yeah.
it's just, you know, faith over that. That's the case, faith over common sense in the case.
Mhm.
But
I know that there was a bunch of cases of Christian Scientist parents not treating their kids, and is that like there's a battle between neglect and freedom of religion.
yeah, child abuse. Yeah, they call it. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Not. I mean, you got a child coughing, and whooping
Mhm.
cough, whatever the case, something that can be cured by medical science. They don't do it.
Mhm.
So, and it's not the only one. Not just Christian Scientists. I think
Mhm.
who is Jehovah Witnesses. Same thing.
Mm.
They go to doctors.
They go to doctors, they just don't accept blood
Oh,
transfusions.
that's blood.
Yeah,
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 everybody's got their quirks about them. Yeah,
yeah.
but and religions are what they are. They have they're based on old folklore and whatnot, and
Mhm.
people buy it.
Yeah. Do you think it provides them comfort, or what reason can you see
Oh
that
yeah, oh, it's
people go to
comfort.
religion?
Oh yeah, the thought of there not being an afterlife is devastating to some people. How you
Mhm.
mean to tell me I'm not going to see my brother and my sister that passed away years ago? I'm not going to see them
Mhm.
again ever? Yeah, that's it. You get this life, make the best of it.
Mhm.
That's how I look at it. Could there be an afterlife? Maybe so. If
Mhm.
so, bonus. I'll take it, but I'm not expecting it.
Yeah.
So I don't live each day thinking, oh, not a problem. I'll be fine because I have eternity to look forward to. I don't have those thoughts.
You're one of the most energetic, happy people that I know. But you've come to that conclude. Is that kind of why it is? You're just making the best out of this life?
I'm sorry. Is that a
Oh,
question?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Do you think that contributes, like, if you don't believe in the afterlife, so you are just making the most of this life now, that how you can be so happy now?
I don't think it's specifically because I don't think there's an afterlife. I just think because that's just how I was brought up. Make the best of it every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make the best of every day. Don't waste it.
Yeah.
Well, my parents brought that up into me. Not from a
Yeah.
religious aspect, just strictly, enjoy
Good
life.
living.
Yeah.
Yes, love it. So, okay, I've seen your Facebook and you're having a lot of friends pass away lately. If you don't believe in any afterlife, how do you cope with the grief of losing them?
I deal with it. And in the case of Michael, I don't know if you remember Michael Axios.
No.
Anyway, he was our bass player in the Cattail band with your dad,
Oh.
Stephen, and everybody. And
Oh.
he was the first to go.
Mhm.
And I'm really glad I got to see him several years ago at Stephen's house in New York.
Mhm.
Got together. And I knew then, I even said to my wife Rose, I said, I bet you this is the last time we see Michael.
Oh.
You could
Yeah.
you could just tell.
Oh.
But anyway, how do I deal with the grief? I
Mhm.
had Stephen mail me some of his ashes because I
Mhm.
couldn't make it to the funeral. So Stephen,
Mhm.
which I have somewhere right here. I don't know where they went.
Oh.
Whoops, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Anyway, I have his ashes here, and I'm going to make a guitar pick. I'm going to embed the ashes into a clear guitar pick because
Yes.
I keep a guitar pick in my wallet all the time. So I want
Yeah.
to replace it with Michael.
Yeah.
And that's how I deal with the grief.
That's cool. And
Because
that's very science and earth based.
yeah, I think of
Yeah.
him almost every day. So I
Mhm.
figured might as well carry him with me.
Yeah.
Okay. And, um,
That's
and
sweet.
and my other friend John Quirn, he was also in a band with Steven. And I don't know if Rick was with us at the time, but this was even earlier. And he passed away, and I didn't even know it for months. He didn't let on that he was really sick. So
Mhm.
talking to his sister to find out what happened, yada yada yada.
Mhm.
How do I deal with that? I occasionally will play back videos of him and I playing
Mhm.
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like he's not gone. He's right there on my computer.
Yeah.
But
That's nice.
still wish he was here, but I do the best I can.
Yeah. So you think it's just darkness when we're gone?
I'm
Just
sorry.
when we're gone, you think it's just an absence of life? It's just darkness, no consciousness?
Okay, well, I'm starting to change my thoughts on that because I've been studying consciousness and quantum physics and
Yes.
a lot of this. So there's this kind of mesh between science and what would you call it? Spirituality. I don't know if you want to call it that. And I used to think, well, consciousness is in your brain. Because if you can change somebody's brain and their consciousness will change. But quantum physics is starting to unfold the concept of consciousness is what creates the universe. What you see and what you hear, what you feel is all dependent on your consciousness. And everybody has a different consciousness. That's why everybody sees the world differently. Yeah,
Mhm.
we have commonalities, of course, but when you look at red and I look at red, we don't see the same thing. We're looking
Mhm.
at the same thing,
Mhm.
but red has a completely different meaning to you than it does to me.
Yeah.
And it affects you differently than it does me. So what you see is directly dependent on your consciousness. And you could be, you could take away a part of your consciousness, be looking at something and not see it because you don't have the right. part working in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
So just the fact that something hits your eyes doesn't mean you see it. There's a whole process there. And,
Mm-hmm.
and also that process is another thing I've been studying about. When you think about it, when you look at something, you're not seeing that something. Light is reflecting off of it, going into your eye, getting converted into electrical impulses, there's all these conversion processes going on until it becomes a thought, which
Mm-hmm.
is not material anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So the material world doesn't become real to you until it becomes immaterial.
Mm-hmm.
I went, whoa, that's heavy.
I know, it's crazy. So do you believe we can manipulate our existence based on that?
Well, manipulate, well, they can medically manipulate you to consciousness. I mean, drugs can do it, and they can do it with stimulation electronically, make you feel. In fact, there is a place in the brain that they were stimulating, and people were having thoughts of God. It was bringing a big
Mm-hmm.
God presence into their thoughts just by stimulating a certain part of their brain. Went, oh, that's very
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
And also, I've also looked into NDEs, which I'm sure you're
Mm-hmm.
very involved with,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and they talk about, well, I left my body and I looked down, I could see myself in the operating room and yada yada yada. But to date, I don't know if there's any. I don't know the facts of this, but they claim they have taken notes and they will write a note, something like a formula or a menu item, or it doesn't matter what it is, and they place it on top of a cabinet above where the operating is going on. So if the person leaves their body and can see down, can they see the note? No one has ever seen the note, but they have seen, they've heard and said, I heard that the person in the other room talk about this and they think what they said.
Mm-hmm.
How could you have known that if you were NDE? Well, first of all, NDE, you're not really dead. Because if you were dead, you wouldn't come back. But if your heart stops, your brain's still somewhat functioning. Even when your brain stops, a flat line, there's still activity that's not registered for a certain amount of time. I forget the details of that. You might know better than me. So anyway, I'm not convinced that people who say they saw God or heaven or whatever when they were in their NDE experience, that I'm not convinced of it, at least not yet.
Mm-hmm. You're not convinced it really happened, but
Well,
you
oh,
believe that they think it did.
I convinced they believe it, and they're
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But it could also be what happens inside your brain when
Mm-hmm.
it's deprived of oxygen and this, that, and the other thing. And
Mm-hmm.
studies show, at least the ones I've been looking into, that the scenarios that people tend to bring back and discuss have to do with how they were brought up. A Hindu will see a Hindu NDE kind of the heaven
Mm-hmm.
thing. Christians will do this, and they tend to agree with what their beliefs were prior to their NDE experience.
Mm-hmm. Much like dreaming, I guess.
Could be, I guess, and to some
Yeah.
degree, yeah.
Yeah. Um, I know a lot of those near-death experiences have similar things that they experience, like being shown a roadmap of their life, and those kind of similar themes exist in them. I actually have a lady coming on soon who has had one of those experiences, so she'll be interesting to talk to. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
now your dad told me, I guess you were only a couple of years old at the time, that you could remember being born.
Yeah, they told me that too. Uh,
That I'll never forget that. And and
yeah.
and you're the only person on the planet I know that has ever mentioned that. Do you still have that memory?
No, I don't. But I'll tell you, Harley asked Horizon that when she was about 2 years old, maybe three, and she had a very vivid description of it in her own terms. Like I had never talked to her about being born at all. And Harley, I didn't even know Harley was going to ask her. And she's like, guess what? And so, yeah, same thing, but she doesn't remember it now.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I even told you that. I said, you know what? You should ask Jolene like every couple of months or so. Just keep that memory alive.
Yeah, I know. No, I definitely don't remember it.
Well, actually, if it was there, it probably is there somewhere, and maybe it can.
Mhm. Could be retrieved. I know that'd be cool.
One would think, that'd be cool. I
Yeah.
I love your hair, by the way.
Thank you. I probably get it from my dad.
Looks awesome. Anyway, go ahead, fire away.
Fire away. Okay, let's see. I was wondering, what your wife. I'm not going to interview her right now, but I want to know: does your wife have similar beliefs as you?
She's a little bit more, I'm gonna say, spiritual than I am. Not religious at all. Okay,
Mhm.
she had a Catholic upbringing, but never fell for the Catholic, you know, dogma or anything like that. And I don't think her parents did either. I think it was all just for show.
Mhm.
Be a good Catholic, go to church, yada yada yada. But we both have very similar feelings about that. But she thinks, yeah, maybe there's something, and she's just not sure. She can't put it in words. But she had a sister that died in 91. And I met Rose in 96. So her sister was dead 5 years. And she'll always say, oh, sometimes I get this feeling that Liddy, that was her name, that, Liddy is with me, when I make this decision or something like that.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, like I said, she can't put it into, a formula, but she has more of that kind of a sensation.
Mhm. Yeah, cool. Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. So coincidences.
I'm sorry.
What do you think about coincidences?
Okay, coincidence.
Coincidence.
That's just what it is. Two things happening at the same time, same place. I mean, as far as were they predetermined? No.
Well, like, so I've talked to a lot of people who have different versions of coincidences. So, like,
Oh,
like I
oh,
have my own
wait,
story.
wait. I knew you were going to call me. I was just going to call you. No, I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
How many times did it not happen?
Uh-huh.
And you didn't make any note of it. It's
Right.
it's only the ones that when it does happen, you think it's something
Mm-hmm.
beyond coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
That,
What
that-
about multiple coincidences? Like when it happens over and over or more drastically? Like, I don't know if you listen to Catherine's podcast, but so we worked in a nursing home together, and on three different occasions she had dreams of residents saying goodbye to her, and come to find out when they woke up, when she woke up, she confirmed and they had passed on through the night. So like a threefold coincidence, when they get a little stronger.
well, once again, I don't abandon consciousness as being something beyond what we so far know
Mhm.
scientifically.
Sure.
There could be a collective conscious. There could be
Mhm.
that when somebody dies, their consciousness somehow connects to Catherine's consciousness, and there's a connection there, and she becomes a
Yeah.
fit for whatever reason. That's a whole realm that is, well, it can't be studied by science yet. Anyway, I
Mhm.
haven't figured out a way to do it, but I'm open to that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there could be a God, for all I know. There could be a God, but which God? And if you look in religions, there's thousands of them, and and they can't all be right. They can't all be wrong. But I'm not saying they're all wrong. I just don't have evidence or proof of any one of them.
Yeah.
And what is God? To some people, God is that, the bearded guy in the sky and all this stuff. And heaven is a place. I'll ask people, I'll say, do you really believe in heaven? Yeah. Do you think it's a real place? Oh, yeah. Can you point to it? And they point up. I said, well, what about my friend in China? They're pointing in the opposite direction. Is that where heaven is? Oh, well, it's away from the earth. It's totally, no matter what direction you go. How far away? Okay, because we've got telescopes looking 13.8 billion light years and we still haven't seen any heaven. So is it a physical place? Oh, no, it's a spiritual place. Well, then how can it be in a place, a physical place, if it's not matter and energy? So, it usually gets to the point where they don't know.
Yeah.
So to me, the concept of religious, like a Christian heaven and hell, it makes absolutely no sense to me. Why would a loving God burn you forever for not believing in him? That's not love. Anyway, I mean, we could go on about religion, but so I don't subscribe to any of those kind of notions.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's a lot of controversy and contraindications within each religion and among each other.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of similarities too.
That's why there's so many denominations of just within Christianity alone.
Exactly, I know.
Yep.
Let's see. Do you believe? Okay, you said you're an astronomer, and you know, with going over to your house looking at your. This isn't related to death, but I'm so curious. Let me look through your telescopes. You taught us that the blue planets are hotter than the red planets. Or the stars that we're looking at. When you see it, it has a blue glow. You said that one's hotter.
Wait, what? I'm a little hard of hearing. So, what are you asking me?
Do you believe in aliens? Is my question.
Do I believe there are beings in other places in the universe other than Earth?
Yeah.
I absolutely believe in the possibility because, just numerically speaking, it only makes sense. There's so many stars with planets in the universe. It's to some astronomical number. For there not to be some form of life, it doesn't make sense.
Sure.
They'd be beings like us. I doubt it highly. I mean, okay, if you look at the history of the planet Earth and how we even got here, supposedly, abiogenesis, if that is the way we got here, of non-organic matter becoming organic matter and becoming the first cells and all that whole process, which we don't fully understand, but it makes sense if you follow the science. But there's certain places you go, well, how could that be? I mean, but evolution, I don't know if I'm going off on a tangent here, but evolution is, it's science. I mean, it's proven. We wouldn't have vaccines if evolution wasn't true. Every time a virus, a new strain of virus, that's evolution, and we got to come up with a new vaccine for it. That's evolution. There's little changes over time make big changes. And anyway, I think I went off topic. But where were we coming from?
That's okay. It doesn't matter. Well, I had asked you if there's aliens, and you said definitely there's a possibility because we're one tiny little drop in the ocean of the multiverse.
and that's another possibility. Perhaps some alien or whatever life form came to Earth. And I mean, we're bombarded by comets, and comets have all the life materials, the carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, all the materials necessary for life exist on other planets and comets and things. So if they strike Earth and seed the planet with life, that could have been it. Maybe it wasn't abiogenesis. Maybe it was some other seed that came and evolved somehow. But don't know yet.
So cool. So are you into all the quantum computers?
Not so much quantum computing. I learn about it, but and it fascinates me because the whole concept of an infinite number between 1 and 0, and that a quantum calculation can it's just so, I want to say, miraculous. It's so mind-boggling. It's so hard to understand how that can be, but it is, and they do it. And there's a thing that's kind of defying science these days called quantum entanglement. I don't know if you've heard that term.
Yeah, I have. I've
And
been starting to try to study it in my spare time too.
it's not fully understood. So anybody who says they understand it, don't believe them.
Okay, good,
They
because
say
I
that
don't.
they say about quantum physics. If a very famous physicist said, if you think you understand quantum physics, you don't. But the hi, hon.
Did you get my message?
No, excuse me one moment, please.
Oh, quantum entanglement.
Quantum entanglement.
Yeah.
So I'm getting hot now. Quantum entanglement. So if two elementary particles, like electrons, come in contact with each other, they become what's called entangled. And if you separate them, okay, electrons have a property called spin. And if well, I got to go back a step. If you try to look at an electron, the act of observing it will isolate it into a particle. But when you're not looking at it, it's a wave. It's just this big wave. It could be anywhere, at any time. But until you look at it, it's undefined. But when they get entangled, when two electrons get entangled, if one is spinning up, well, you don't know. If you look at one and you see that it's spinning up, the other one will automatically be spinning down instantaneously. As soon as you identify the properties of the electron and take it out of the waveform into a particle, the other, its mate, if you will, does that instantaneously. It could be across the universe, separated, faster than the speed of light. They appear to communicate to each other, which is indicating, well, how can that be? Einstein didn't even buy it. He called it spooky action at a distance. So some scientists are saying, well, maybe there's another dimension, not just time, but this other spatial dimension where all matter, all particles can connect to each other. And that would explain instantaneous communication versus, I mean, this is really deep. I don't want to get too far.
No, I've been studying it too, and I'm so interested in your explanation of it.
So they're bringing other dimensions into the equation. And I'm thinking, well, to me, when people talk about how did we get here, the Big Bang, and well, then what caused the Big Bang? It had to be God. What if there are infinite dimensions or lots of different dimensions and lots of universes? And I don't know if you're familiar with matter and antimatter. Okay, well, when you split, okay, when you absorb an electron and you put out photons. I'm going to say it right. Okay. Every matter particle has an antimatter mate. When theoretically, when the Big Bang happened, it created all this, well, it was plasma, but became matter and antimatter. And they should have been equal amounts, and they should have canceled each other out and just became energy. But some of that matter didn't find its antimatter mate. And that's what the entire universe that we experience is made out of. Well,
Crazy.
what if there's all these other dimensions that we can't perceive? And what if you have an antimatter universe and another matter universe? And what if they collided? Well, they would become pure energy, but the energy of two universes, not just one. So where does all that energy go? Well, maybe it comes into another dimension. That's us. Out the dimensions. That's where all that energy comes. And that's why the universe is expanding. How could it be getting even faster and faster? Because there's so much energy, so much more than one universe. I mean, that's just my take on it. I'm not saying that's absolutely the way it happened, but it's a possibility from a scientific standpoint. So, but it eliminates the need for a God to create anything. That's my point.
No, that makes sense. Sure does.
Can't prove it, but
Can't prove it. Can't unprove it. Okay, yeah, okay, so I've heard of that. Einstein started looking into that and how how many years later and we still have no idea, but it seems like we're making a lot of progress because of the computing systems.
Absolutely. Yep.
So wild and so vast.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, all that honestly makes me feel like nothing dies because of all the energy. It just disperses and goes somewhere else. But we can't prove it.
That's right.
Cool. Okay, well, it sounds like you have to go make dinner.
Yeah, I need to cut it a little short. I don't want to, but we can do it again if you want.
Let's do it again for sure. I appreciate it. I know I left my puppy with my dad who just had a hip replacement. Sorry, Dad.
Oh, that's right. Your dad did. Yeah, I talked to him yesterday.
Yeah, poor guy.
He says he's still hurting though.
He's still hurting, I know, and I had a super busy day at work, driving probably 1,000 miles. I came in, I ran, and I took the dog off the leash, and I got my phone set up, and I called you. So I owe him a coffee or something. Yeah.
That's great.
Well, I'm talking to Steven tomorrow, so I'll give you exclusive access to our interview before I publish it.
Okay, cool.
We can plan the great debate.
Yep. He and I talk about it all the time, so that'll be good input.
That'll be fun. Okay. Well, Jeff, I love your energy and your curiosity, and I love that you continue to be open-minded and evolve your thoughts and beliefs into your 70s.
Yep. As long as I can.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. Well, thank you. Send me George's information.
Okay, you take care.
Okay, I love you. Bye-bye.
Love you too, sweetheart. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. Before you go, if you'd like more episodes, behind the scenes updates, and a growing library of comforting resources, please join me at patreon.com/deathismylife. Your support helps this podcast grow and reach more people who need it. And if this episode resonated with you, please share the podcast with someone who might find comfort in it too. I'll see you there. This episode is brought to you by Havern Cabinetry and Design, a family business built on more than 50 years of master craftsmanship.
Since 1972, owner Rick Havern has delivered immaculate, custom-built cabinetry and countertops for projects of every scale, from luxury homes to hotels, hospitals, and retail environments. Whether you're renovating a home or outfitting an entire building, their work will exceed your expectations. Learn more or request a quote at haverncabinetry.com. Link in the show notes.